Alright guys, with our Rossler here, and today we're going to be reviewing the August 15th edition of Monday Night Raw. Also, this is the last Raw before SummerSlam and the 4th post-draft Raw. And do you remember last time I did this review of Raw, well last week's review of Raw, where I said Raw is getting worse week by week. This week was a bit of a down, definitely, Raw is definitely... Wait a minute, let me just have a drink. Raw is definitely getting worse week by week, and this week was no exception. The show started off with Seth Rollins backstage, well actually outside of the arena, and he was looking for the Demon King, and he called out the Demon King, but of course nobody would answer. Seth laughed and then walked into the building. Then we had the opening package and highlights of last week's show. I said last week, this is really cool, it makes every Raw feel important. The opening segment was Rusev and Lana. They discussed why is Roman Reigns getting a US title match. That's actually a really good question. He hasn't really earned a US title match. I know he won a 4-way, but he didn't. He then lost to Balor, so it doesn't make too much sense to get a match. But it's happening. Steph and Foley come out and say stop complaining. Basically, Roman Reigns comes out, and the segment ends with Foley booking Roman Reigns against Rusev in a match on this episode of Raw in the main event for the, I don't know, it was like to defend Rusev's wife's honour. Now, I don't like it when they book big matches that are on pay-per-views on the Raw or SmackDown before the show, because it just makes that pay-per-view match seem less important, and it just, you know, what's the point? I've already seen Reigns and Rusev now on the show, why do I need to see him at SummerSlam? But we'll get to that as it's the main event of the show. Then we moved on and we had Sheamus against Sami Zayn, and this was a good TV matchup. I enjoyed it. 3 stars. Cesaro came out on commentary and actually cost Sheamus the win in the end. He got involved and Sami Zayn hit him with a Helluva Kick. 1, 2, 3. It's very, very sad that Sami Zayn is doing absolutely nothing at SummerSlam. The huge win he had at Battleground against Kevin Owens should have led him into a match of some kind at SummerSlam instead of just nothing, because we have our full Raw card booked for SummerSlam after this show. And yeah, it was a little bit annoying Sami Zayn's not in the match, but he beat Sheamus here, 3 stars. Sheamus has lost 3 weeks in a row, which is not good for him. But he's losing to Cesaro and Zayn, but it's still not good that he's losing 3 weeks in a row. 3 stars though, a good matchup. Sheamus, Sami obviously played babyface in peril and fought back in the end, obviously with help from Cesaro. Moving on, and we had Jericho backstage. They talked about Enzo and Cass and talked about Owens taking on Big Cass in a match tonight. These guys are funny. These guys are always great when they're on TV. I love Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens together. I feel like at SummerSlam they might split them up, which I think is kind of premature. I think they should stay together. I think they should lose the match at SummerSlam to Enzo and Cass, but they should stay together because they're a great duo. And a lot of people would want them split up because they're single stars, but keep them together for now because there's nothing on the horizon for either as a single star. Put them in that tag division, help them elevate a couple of these smaller tag teams, maybe like the Golden Truth. I know I'm saying that, but have them maybe beat the Golden Truth and beat a couple of teams before they face maybe the New Day or Enzo and Cass again. But yeah, good stuff from Jericho and Owens. Then we moved into Cesaro and Sheamus backstage, and Foley comes in the middle of them. They're arguing again, and Foley says, right, you two seem to have got that fire back. So Sheamus, you seem to have gotten that fire back which we missed, and that's why we drafted you so low. And Cesaro, your shoulder seems to be totally fine. So he said, I'm going to book the 2 of you in a best-of-7 series. And the first match will take place at SummerSlam. Now, a best-of-7 series is fantastic. I remember the Chris Benoit Booker T one. I remember Booker T and John Cena having a best-of-5 series. But that best-of-7 series with Benoit and Booker was really good, I do remember. This best-of-7 series idea for Sheamus and Cesaro works wonderfully because it gives both men something to do for the next month or 2. And it makes their matches, every one of them, even though they're repeats, it makes every one of them feel important. Because if Cesaro wins one, then it's 1 up, and if Sheamus wins one, it's 1 all. So, great idea. I just want to see if they can keep the new matches, if they can keep, you know, a different diversity to each matchup, because the 2 matches I've seen them have been very different. One was 5 minutes, one was like 10. So, and they were very, very different, and I enjoyed both. So these 2 men, are going to have a very good, I think, a best of 7 series. And one of my most exciting things at the moment on Raw is this series. So I'm looking forward to it. However, my big criticism is a match at SummerSlam. Now, I know SummerSlam is a big event and you may as well start it there, but there's a lot of Raw matches on that card, and that makes it 6, I believe, Raw matches on that card now, with SmackDown's 3. So it kind of shows which brand's getting the better of it at the moment. Plus, that's going to be 10 matches on the show, and they're definitely going to be pushed to the pre-show, I imagine. But it should be a good matchup. I am looking forward to this best of 7 series with Cesaro and Sheamus. Then we had the New Day taking on the Dudley Boys. This was just a match. I'm not rating it. The New Day won with Trouble in Paradise from Kofi, even though he really hit him with the knee instead of his foot. After the matchup, I believe Gallows and Anderson came on the screen and talked about ring postitis and had separate jars for the testes of Kofi and Xavier, and somebody pointed this out. Xavier's jar was smaller than Kofi's and Big E's. Is there supposed to be a joke there? I think it's just because he's smaller. But if it's a joke, it's a smart joke. We had a Nia Jax squash that was back this week, and it was I can't remember. It was there obviously wasn't much to this. She won with the spinning power slam again, which is was Samoan drop power slam, which is much better than the leg drop. Fine stuff there from Nia Jax. Brock and Heyman come out, and they are interrupted by Heath Slater, who again appears on one of the shows as a free agent. And basically this segment ends with Brock saying, "I don't care about your kids, Heath." And then he suplexes him, F5. Heyman and Brock are great. Brock is great on the mic. He's so underrated on the mic, to be honest, Brock Lesnar. Especially in an interview setting. In this setting, he's a little bit more exposed, but he was fine here. Heyman was phenomenal here at building up the matchup between Lesnar and Orton at SummerSlam. And that matchup is definitely one of my marquee matches, one of my most look forward matches on the card. It has one of the best builds, but not the best. But good stuff here. This was one of the highlights of the entire show. So, good stuff from Heyman and Lesnar. Then we had Big Cass against Owens. I thought this was so pointless. It ended with a DQ, with Owens getting DQ'd after Jericho's involvement. And the segment ended with Jericho code-breakering Enzo Amore, and they took out Colin Cassidy as well. So Jericho looked very strong going into SummerSlam. I thought this was pointless, though. And, there's a lot of pointless stuff on the show. Every week, to be honest. Then we had Roman Reigns and Rusev backstage. They were brawling, and there was nothing really to this. Roman Reigns got thrown into the steel wall, or a gate, I guess, steel gate, and injured his ribs apparently, which he barely solved in the matchup, so I didn't get what the point was there. But hey-ho, more pointlessness. Primetime Players took on the Shining Stars. The Primetime Players were back for 1 week, and then, of course, Titus O'Neil in the end attacks Darren Young with the Clash of the Titus, and Primo pins Darren Young. The Shining Stars have a victory. They have 2 victories now in the WWE. I couldn't care less. This match is totally pointless again. And hey-ho, Raw. Jinder Mahal will take on Neville. Jinder Mahal, of course, back now after beating Heath Slater a couple of weeks ago for a job. And he's back to being a jobber, and that's totally fine, especially when it's against Neville. Neville looked good here, but again, Neville is not beating anyone of any credibility. He beat Mr. Irrelevant Curtis Axel. He then beat Jinder Mahal. These guys are, the low end of Raw. He should be going against the big top guys, the Kevin Owenses, the Chris Jerichos, the Seth Rollinses maybe, and maybe starting to build some credibility as a single star. But I think they're holding Neville out for that Cruiserweight division, which is still coming apparently. Coming soon, sorry, it's still coming soon apparently. But kind of dumb use of Neville again, but he won, so there's that. Steph and Foley were backstage, and Seth Rollins walks in and is still looking for the Demon King, Finn Balor. And Stephanie and Foley say, "Well, why don't you go out to the ring, call him out?" And Rollins says, "Oh, okay," basically. So Rollins goes to the ring and calls out Finn Balor. This promo, this build for this matchup has been the best of any matchup in SummerSlam. I think Rollins and Balor have done this build very, very well. I think Rollins calling out the Demon King makes total sense. It shows he's not afraid of the Demon King. But then, when Finn Balor did come out as the Demon King, and I felt like it would have been more impactful if the Demon King had debuted, at SummerSlam, but it was cool to see him on Raw. He got a good reaction here. and he has different paint now, which is really, really nice. And Rollins, when he saw Balor, it was great because he looked kind of intimidated by him. He went to attack Balor. Balor finishes the segment with a dive over the top rope. And Balor looks good going into SummerSlam. And that should be a phenomenal match at SummerSlam. I'm so looking forward to that matchup. And I can't wait to watch it. That should be one of the main events of the show. So good stuff here from Balor and Rollins. One of my favourite parts of this entire Raw show. We moved into the Club against the Golden Truth. Again, a really pointless matchup, but the Club won, so hey ho. The New Day would come out after the matchup and try to injure Carl Anderson with a Francesca 2 to the groin, and Gallows, luckily, Doc Gallows, which is a fantastic little joke. Doc Gallows pulled Anderson out of the way, and they caressed the jar of Big E's nuts. That's not even a joke. Charlotte was backstage with Dana Brooke, and Charlotte was basically telling Dana Brooke off, basically saying, you're useless, you're in my spotlight, and this was... I honestly was crying at this point because I felt like, oh my god, they're going to turn Dana Brooke's face, and that's not something we want because Dana Brooke can't be a heel, so why should she be a face? But I was actually shocked at the next segment. So Charlotte took on Alicia Fox. She beat Alicia Fox very, very quickly. The finish was missed because the camera was on Sasha Banks, which it's not the worst thing the camera should be on, but it should be on the finish. And then Sasha Banks is called down to the ring. She's wearing these jeans, which looked lovely, and leather pants, actually. And Charlotte and Sasha Banks attack it. Well, no, Charlotte goes to attack Sasha in the ring. Dana Brooke comes in from out of nowhere. So basically the backstage segment was a ploy, I'm guessing. If it was, it's ingenious psychology, but if it's not, then... but anyway, Sasha Banks is putting the figure eight, and Charlotte keeps it on. The match was pointless, but this segment was very, very good. Now I need Sasha to sell the leg injury at SummerSlam. Please sell it. If you get to SummerSlam and you don't sell the injury, I'm going to be very annoyed. Well, I am going to be annoyed. Then we moved into the main event of the show, Rusev against Roman Reigns. I thought this was a very, very good TV matchup. There were a couple of points in it where the psychology of the match was really poor, though, where Rusev just kept doing middle rope headbutts, and Reigns missed the last one, which he did 5. So that was the dumbest psychology I've ever seen. Reigns didn't break the Accolade in this matchup, but he escaped it. He grabbed the ropes, which I don't think I've seen anyone ever do, so kudos. I think that was actually fairly well booked. And in the end, of course, Roman Reigns wins with a spear to Rusev. Now, I thought Rusev should win this matchup if Roman Reigns is going to win on the pay-per-view. But with Roman Reigns winning, that does give me the impression that Rusev will be retaining. My only issue is, I can't see how he's going to retain. How he won't make him tap out, surely. Maybe he'll pin him with a big head kick. The head kick which he beat Cesaro with last week, actually, he hit Reigns with, and Reigns kicked out. So there's a little note for you on how much you think Vince thinks of Cesaro. But I guess my biggest issue with this matchup is I've kind of seen this, and there's nothing more they can do. They did everything in this matchup. This seemed like a pay-per-view match. Very much. It went 22 minutes. That's way too long for a US title match on pay-per-view, in my opinion. That time should be given to the main events. But especially when you've only got a 6-hour show, I guess it's going to be now, which is the rumour. But I can't see where else they can go. I hope they top this, because I thought this was a very good matchup. I gave it 3.25 stars. I couldn't give it half because of the psychology. But 3.25 stars, a very good way to end the show. But after looking through this Raw again, there is just so much pointless stuff here. The Primetime Players stuff's pointless. The Jinder Mahal stuff's kind of pointless. The Club match was kind of pointless. The New Day match was pointless. The Cass and Owens match was pointless, and there was no Braun Strowman this week. So I think I'm going to give this Raw a 4 out of 10. I think this was a bad Raw show. There was some good stuff. The main event was very good. The match between Sheamus and Zayn was good. The Rollins Balor stuff was good. And the Heyman Lesnar stuff was good. But outside of that, there's nothing to watch on the show. There's very little on the show of quality, although there is quality here. So skip Raw if you really don't want to watch it, but if you do, watch the main event at least, because it was pretty good main event. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Raw Russell. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. I'll be back tomorrow with my review of SmackDown Live, the 4th edition, post-draft, obviously. They advertised 2 things for SmackDown Live on Raw. There'll be a John Cena Alberto Del Rio match, which should be good, and a Miz TV segment with Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose, which I'm looking forward to because those guys have been on fire with their promos. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching KO Mania. Yeah, KO Ocelot. KO Ocelot, yeah. Let's go with that. I'll obviously be back on Thursday, but it'll be a little bit later with my Cruiserweight Classic and NXT review. I have to go pick up my exam results from college. And I'll be here on Saturday with my my SummerSlam predictions. Sunday I'll be here with my NXT Brooklyn review. Monday I'll be here very, very late with my late SummerSlam review because I have to go to the hospital. Thanks for watching. It has been Rob Russell. Like, comment, subscribe for more. I'm going to go play some Oblivion. Probably watch the Holy Foley thing on the network. And thanks for watching, guys. It has been Rob Russell.